Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spill the Pea. This week we are diving into Ki Tisa. It's such a beautiful parsha. So, as usual, we are going to start with the story, and then afterwards, we're going to dive into the deeper meaning. Please like, share, comment. Here we go. We open with Hashem saying to Moshe, "When you take a census of Bnei Israel, according to their numbers, every man shall give Hashem an atonement for his soul when counting them, so that there will not be a plague among them when counting them. This shall they give. Everyone who passes through the census, a half shekel of a sacred shekel. The shekel is 20 geras, half shekel as a portion to Hashem. Everyone who passes through the census from 20 years of age and up shall give the portion of Hashem. The wealthy shall not increase, and the destitute shall not decrease from half a shekel to give the portion of Hashem to atone for your souls. You shall take the silver of the atonements from Bnei Israel and give it for the work of the tent of meeting. And it shall be a remembrance before Hashem for Bnei Israel to atone for your souls." Hashem continued, "You shall make a copper laver and its base of copper for washing. Place it between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water there. From it, Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands together with their feet. Whenever they come to the tent of meeting, they shall wash with water and not die. Or when they approach the altar to serve, to raise up in smoke a fire offering to Hashem, they shall wash their hands and feet and not die. It shall be for them an eternal decree for him and his offspring for their generations. Now take for yourself choice spices, 500 shekel weights of pure myrrh, fragrant cinnamon at 250 weight, 250 weight of fragrant cane, 500 cassia, and a hin of olive oil. Of it shall you make oil of sacred anointment, a blended compound, the handiwork of a perfumer. It shall remain oil of sacred anointment. With it you shall anoint the tent of meeting and ark of the testimonial tablets, the table, its utensils, the menorah, its utensils, and the incense altar, the elevation offering altar and its utensils, the laver and its base. You shall sanctify them, and they shall remain holy of holies. Whatever touches them shall become holy. You shall anoint Aaron and his sons and sanctify them to minister to me. You shall speak to Bnei Israel and say, "This shall remain for me oil of sacred anointment for your generations. It shall not be smeared on human flesh, and you shall not duplicate it in its formulation. It is holy, and it shall remain holy for you. Anyone who shall compound its like or who shall put it upon an alien shall be cut off from his people." Hashem continues, "Take yourself spices, stacked onycha and galbanum, spices and pure frankincense. These shall be of equal weight. You shall make it into a spice compound, the handiwork of a perfumer, thoroughly mixed, pure, and holy. You shall grind some of it finely and place some of it before the testimonial tablets in the tent of meeting, where I shall designate a time to meet you. It shall remain holy of holies to you. The incense that you shall make, in its proportion you shall not make for yourselves. It shall remain holy to you for Hashem. Whoever makes its like to smell it shall be cut off from his people. See, I have called by the name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of the tribe of Judah. I have filled him with a godly spirit, with wisdom, insight, and knowledge, and with every craft, to weave designs, to work with gold, silver, and copper, stone cutting for setting, and wood carving, to perform every craft. And I, behold, I have assigned with him Oholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. And I have endowed the heart of every wise-hearted person with wisdom, and they shall make all that I have commanded of you. tent of meeting, the ark of the testimonial tablets, and the cover that is upon it, and all its utensils, the tablet and its utensils, the pure menorah and its utensils, the incense altar, the elevation offering altar and its utensils, the laver, its base, knit vestments of Aaron the Cohen and his sons, the anointment oil and incense spices of the sanctuary, like everything I commanded you, shall you make. Now go, speak to Bnei Israel, and say, however, you must observe my Shabbat, for it is a sign between me and you for generations to know that I am Hashem who makes you holy. You shall observe the Shabbat, for it is holy to you. Its desecrates shall be put to death, for whoever does work on it, that soul shall be cut off from among its people. For 6 days work may be done, and the seventh day is a day of complete rest. It is sacred to Hashem. Whoever does work on the Shabbat day will be put to death. Israel shall observe the Shabbat to make the Shabbat an eternal covenant for their generations. Between me and Bnei Israel, it is a sign forever that in a 6-day period, Hashem made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. When Hashem finished speaking to Moshe on Mount Sinai, he gave to Moshe the 2 tablets of the testimony, stone tablets inscribed by the finger of God. The people saw that Moshe was delayed in coming down the mountain, and so they gathered around Aaron and were like, rise up, make for us gods that will go before us, for this man Moshe who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we don't know what became of him. And Aaron says, remove the gold rings from the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. So all the people took off the gold from their ears and brought everything to Aaron. He took all of the gold, he wrapped it in a cloth, and fashioned it into a molten calf. They said, this is your God, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt. Aaron saw and built an altar and called out and said, a festival for Hashem tomorrow. They all got up early the next day and offered up elevation and peace offerings. They sat to eat, drink, and to revel. So then Hashem speaks to Moshe and he's like, descend, for your people that you brought up out of the land of Egypt have become corrupt. They have strayed quickly from the way that I have commanded. They made themselves a molten calf, prostrated themselves to it, and sacrificed to it, and said, this is your God, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt. I have seen this people, and behold, they are a stiff-necked people. And now desist from me. Let my anger flare up against them, and I shall annihilate them, and I shall make you a great nation. Moshe pleads before Hashem, his God, and he's like, why, Hashem, should your anger flare up against your people from whom you have taken out of the land of Egypt with great power and a strong hand? Why should Egypt say, with evil intent did he take them out, to kill them in the mountains and to annihilate them from the face of the earth? Relent from your flaring anger and reconsider regarding the evil against your people. Remember, for the sake of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself, and you told them, I shall increase your offspring like the stars of heaven, and this entire land of which I spoke I shall give to your offspring, and it shall be their heritage forever. So, of course, Hashem reconsiders regarding the evil he said he would do to his people. So Moshe turned, and he descends from the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands. The tablets inscribed on both sides. The tablets were God's handiwork, and the script was of God, engraved on both the tablets. So Joshua hears the sound of the people, and he says to Moshe, the sound of battle is in the camp. not a sound of shouting strength or of shouting weakness. A sound of distress do I hear. As Moshe drew near the camp and saw the calf and all of the dances, his anger flared up, and he threw down the tablets and he shattered them at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf they made and he burned it in fire. He ground it to a fine powder and sprinkled it over the water, and he made Bnei Israel drink it. So then Moshe says to Aaron, "What did these people do to you that you brought this sin upon it?" And Aaron was like, "Let not my master's anger flare up. You know the people are disposed to evil. They told me to make them a god to go before them because they didn't know what happened to you. So I asked them who had gold. They removed it, gave it to me, and I threw it in this fire, and then a calf emerged." So Moshe saw the people, for Aaron exposed them to disgrace among those who rise up against them. So Moshe stood at the gate of the camp, and he was like, "Whoever is for Hashem, join me." And all of the Levites gathered around him, and he was like, "So said Hashem, the God of Israel, every man put his sword on his thigh and passed back and forth from the gate to the gate in the camp. Let every man kill his brother, his fellow, and his near one." The Levites did what Moshe said, and about 3,000 men fell that day. And Moshe was like, "Dedicate yourselves this day to Hashem, for each has opposed his sons and his brother, that he may bestow a blessing upon you this day." The next day, Moshe says, "You have committed a grievous sin, and now I shall ascend to Hashem. Perhaps I can win atonement in the face of your sin." So Moshe goes back to Hashem, and he's like, "I implore, if you would but forgive their sins. If not, erase me now from your book that you have written." And Hashem was like, "Whoever has sinned against me, I shall erase from my book. Now go and lead the people to where I have told you. Behold, my angel shall go before you, and on the day I make my account, I'll bring their sin to account against them." And then Hashem struck the people with a plague because of the golden calf. So then Hashem says to Moshe, "Ascend from here, you and the people whom you brought up from the land of Egypt to the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. I shall send an angel ahead of you, and I shall drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land that flows with milk and honey, because I shall not ascend among you, for you are a stiff-necked people, lest I will annihilate you on the way." So, of course, the people heard this and they became grief-stricken, and so none of them wanted to wear the jewelry anymore. So Hashem says to Moshe, "Tell Bnei Israel that they are stiff-necked people, and if I were to ascend among them, I may just annihilate them in an instant. So remove your jewelry, and I will know what I'm going to do." So Bnei Israel were stripped of their jewelry from Mount Horeb. So Moshe took the tent and he pitched it outside, far from the camp, and called it the tent of meeting. So whoever sought Hashem would go out to the tent, which was outside of the camp. Whenever Moshe would go out to the tent, the entire people would stand up and watch as he arrived at the tent. And when he arrived, a pillar of a cloud would descend at the entrance, and he would speak with Moshe. The entire people would see the pillar, and they would rise and prostrate themselves, everyone at the entrance of their tents. Hashem would then speak to Moshe face to face, and then he would return to the camp. So Moshe says to Hashem, "See, you say to me to take this people onward, but you didn't tell me who you're going to send with me. And you said, I shall know you by name, and you have also found favor in my eyes. And now, if I have actually found favor in your eyes, make your ways known to me that I may comprehend what it is that you mean by you have found favor in my eyes, and see that this nation is your people. So Hashem says to Moshe, my presence will go and provide you rest. And Moshe is like, if your presence doesn't go along, don't bring us from here. How then will it be known that I have found favor in your eyes, I and your people, unless you accompany us? I and your people will be made distinct from every people on the face of the earth. So then Hashem is like, even this thing of which you spoke shall I do, for you have found favor in my eyes, and I have known you by name. And Moshe was like, show me now your glory. And Hashem is like, I shall make all my goodness pass before you, and I shall call out with the name Hashem before you. I shall show favor when I choose to show favor, and I shall show mercy when I choose to show mercy. You will not be able to see my face, for no human can see my face and live. Behold, there is a place near me. You may stand on the rock. When my glory passes by, I shall place you on the cleft of the rock. I shall shield you with my hand until I have passed. Then I shall remove my hand, and you will see my back, but my face shall not be seen. So Hashem says to Moshe, carve for yourself 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I'll inscribe on the tablets the words that were there on the first tablets, which you shattered. Be prepared in the morning, ascend Mount Sinai, and stand by me there on the mountaintop. No man may ascend with you, nor may anyone be seen on the entire mountain. Even the flock and the cattle may not graze facing the mountain. So Moshe carves out 2 stone tablets. He wakes up early in the morning and he ascends Mount Sinai as Hashem commanded him. So Hashem descends in a cloud and he stands with him there and he calls out with the name of Hashem. Hashem passed before him and proclaimed, Hashem, Hashem, God compassionate and gracious, slow to anger and abundant in kindness and truth, preserver of kindness for thousands of generations, forgiver of iniquity, willful sin and error, and who cleanses, but does not cleanse completely, recalling the iniquity of parents upon children and grandchildren to the 3rd and 4th generations. So Moshe hastens to bow his head towards the ground and to prostrate himself, and he says, if I have now found favor in your eyes, my Lord, let my Lord go among us. For it is a stiff-necked people, and you shall forgive our iniquity and error and make us your heritage. Hashem was like, behold, I seal a covenant before your entire people. I'll make distinctions that have never been created in the world among all nations, and the entire people among you will see the work of Hashem, which is awesome. Beware of what I command you today. Behold, I drive out before you the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, Perizzite, Hivite, and Jebusite. Be vigilant lest you seal a covenant with the current inhabitants of the land, lest it be a snare among you. Rather, you shall break their altars, smash their pillars, and cut down their sacred trees. For you shall not prostrate yourselves to an alien god, for the very name of Hashem is a jealous one. Lest you seal a covenant with the inhabitants of the land and stray after their gods, slaughter to their gods, and he invite you, and you eat from his slaughter. And you take their daughters for your sons, and their daughters stray after their gods, and entice your sons to stray after their gods. You shall not make yourselves molten gods. You shall observe the festival of Matzah. For a 7-day period you shall eat matzah as I commanded you at the appointed time in the month of the spring, for that is when you went forth from Egypt. Every first issue of a womb is mine, as well as any of your livestock that produces a male. The first issue of an ox or a sheep, the first issue of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb or a kid, or if you do not, you shall axe the back of its neck. You shall redeem every firstborn of your sons. They shall not appear before me empty handed. 6 days shall you work, and on the seventh you shall desist from plowing and harvesting. You shall make the festival of weeks with the first offering of the wheat harvest, and the festival of the harvest shall be at the changing of the year. 3 times a year all of your males shall appear before the Lord Hashem, the God of Israel. For I shall banish nations before you and broaden your boundary. No man will covet your land when you go up to appear before Hashem, your God, 3 times a year. You shall not slaughter my blood offering while in possession of leavened food, nor may the feast offering of the Pesach festival be left overnight until morning. The first offering, your land's early produce, you shall bring to the temple of Hashem your God. Do not cook a kid in its mother's milk. Hashem continues, write these words for yourself, for according to these words have I sealed a covenant with you and Israel. So Moshe stays there with Hashem for 40 days and 40 nights, and he doesn't eat bread, he doesn't drink water. He wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the Aseret Hadibrot. When Moshe came down from Sinai with the 2 tablets of the testimony, he didn't realize the skin of his face had become radiant when Hashem spoke to him. Aaron and Bnei Israel saw Moshe, and behold, the skin of his face became radiant, and they became afraid to approach him. So Moshe called to them, and Aaron and all of the leaders of the assembly returned, and Moshe would speak to them. After all of that, Bnei Israel would approach, and he would command them regarding everything Hashem told him on Sinai. So Moshe finished speaking with them and placed a mask on his face. When Moshe would go to speak with Hashem, he would remove the mask until he would leave, and he would then go to tell Bnei Israel whatever Hashem said. When with Bnei Israel, Moshe would put the mask on because his face became radiant and it was only revealed to Hashem. The end. So I really love this parsha for so many reasons, and I'm sure we'll touch on several of them over the next several minutes. Anyways, we go back to the beginning, and we are told that every single person needs to give half of the sacred shekel, and that the shekel is 20 geras, and that this is a portion to the Creator. Okay, so obviously this is loaded with meaning. First of all, if we give half and the Creator gives half, it's making the whole. So nothing is or can be complete without our participation with the Creator. Next, the shekel is 20 geras. Geras means small portion or amount. So we have 20. We know that 2 is duality. So on the surface, we have the duality of ourselves and the Creator. The Creator being the masculine, giving to us freely and eternally, and we are meant to be the feminine, receiving what He gives to us and bringing it to life in this world. Now, even deeper, when we split 2, we have 1 and 1. We know that the Creator is the one, the Aleph, the beginning of all. The Creator is the light. So why 1 and 1? Because we are also a part of that 1. We are a portion or an amount of the Creator's light that's placed here in an earthly form. This short sentence shows us just how critical it is for us to co-create, participate, to be a part of bringing life to reality on this earth, because we are the light. But if we don't give, if we don't show up, if we don't choose to be a part of the process, then we cannot be the light, because the light is a natural part of the flow between the creator, the masculine giver, and the vessel, you, the feminine receiver. Okay, so why is it important to say that the wealthy and the poor should pay the same? First of all, because we are all equal in the eyes of the creator. The creator doesn't care what it is that you have that your money is capable of buying. Whether you drive a Lamborghini or a lemon, we're all the same. Also, it's telling us that it doesn't matter what we have, what we look like, what we've accomplished. We're all going to pay. And the amount that we pay is exactly what we're meant to pay for wherever we are. We'll be more specific. Nowadays, people think, well, if someone has money, then they're a bad person. And if you're poor, then you're naturally a good person who can't catch a break. So let's say the wealthy person lied and cheated their way to the top, and the poor person was honest their whole life. Either way, they're both going to pay exactly the portion they are meant to give the Creator in this lifetime. This traces back to when we were in the wilderness and we were told to take only the amount of food for our household. And some people took more and some people took less, but they got exactly what they needed. This is similar concept. You may not see it in the moment, but your soul holds a ledger. You will pay exactly what you are meant to pay. Another layer of this is directly related to Aseret Adibrot number 10. Do not covet. In other words, mind your business. How many times have we said this here? And how relatable is it today? People living from a state of lack, be it financial or emotional, always look at the abundant folks and they covet. Well, they make more money, so they should give me some. They should pay more taxes. Well, they're happy, so it's okay if something bad happens to them. Well, she's pretty, so it's okay if I steal her boyfriend. She'll get another one. Comparison is the thief of all joy. If you focus on the fact that you are co creating with the Creator, you don't even have the time to think about other people because whoever is at the top is paying their equal share according to their relationship to the Creator, just like the person at the bottom. So, mind your business. So, we fast forward a bit, and I believe this is the first real mention that we have of washing the hands. We see all the time wash the feet, wash the feet, wash the feet. We get it. But this time, Aaron and his sons have to wash their hands. Here, introducing why we have netilat. Now, if we're going to talk about the hands, we must first talk about the feet. So, why is it so important to wash the feet? Again, there's a few layers. The feet, first of all, represent Malchut, which is the vessel for the dwelling of the Shekhinah. So you need to be a clean vessel worthy of holding space for the indwelling of the light of the Creator. The second layer of washing the feet is to remember to be present. When we walk, we pick up dirt and gunk and all sorts of things, but we don't walk backwards, we walk forwards. So, this is a reminder, don't bring the drama, the pain, the trauma, the hurt, sadness, anger, envy, frustration, all of this, you wash it away. Because when you wash it away, when you wash away where you've been and all the things from your journey prior to this moment, you are now able to be present. And presence is the first step in building the vessel that the light of the Creator can exist within. Okay, so now let's go to the hands. So the hands hold both the past and the present. What we've been working on and what work that we do so that we will reap benefits in the future. So we clean our hands, what we do, the efforts that we make, trying hard to get people to like you, trying hard to make money, trying hard to make sure that you're going to have a retirement. Wash your hands of it. You must not have any worry, past or future, when you come to the Creator. The Creator exists in stillness, in presence. Creation occurs as we speak with intention from the present moment. But when we're closed off because our parents didn't show us love the way that we needed, and we're anxious about not being able to pay rent the next month, we cannot consciously create with the pure intention of love and abundance. The Creator doesn't hold you as a captive of your past or a prisoner of your future. You exist in those places. He just wants you in one moment, in one breath, in stillness. Okay, so we fast forward a bit, we go past all the oils and the scents, and we get to Bezalel. But how did we get to him? First, we had Yehuda, then Hur, then Uri, and then Bezalel. Now, we've heard about the third and the fourth generations having negative impact for sins, but this is a direct example of how it also works in the direction of light. So we started with Yehuda, the son of Israel, whose tikkun revolved around accountability and responsibility. Yehuda also means to praise or to thank. In other words, gratitude. Yehuda, gratitude, led to Hur. Hur represents openness, which led to Uri, which means my light, which then led to Bezalel, which represents being in the Creator's presence or under his protection. So let's get more concise. When we give our half, we're taking accountability. Accountability allows you to be grateful. Why does gratitude need accountability? Because when you're grateful, you are showing awareness that you are actively receiving something. And if you are receiving something, that gives you an active role in participating with the Creator. And if you're choosing to participate, you are choosing to hold yourself accountable. It's easy to point the finger and to blame, but nobody wins the blame game, least of all you, because you're leaving the Creator alone as he's actively giving to you, while you're spitting in his face and telling him what he's giving you isn't good enough. If all you ever do is complain about things, you're not holding yourself responsible for receiving what's being given to you in a moment, receiving the moment that the Creator is trying to create with you. So again, Yehuda, accountability, gives you the opportunity to express gratitude, which then creates an opening for the light to enter. And when you allow yourself to be filled with the light of the Creator, you become enveloped in the Creator's protection. So now we have the whole golden calf scandal. But if you notice, it says Aaron took all of their gold, he wrapped it in a cloth, and he molded it into the calf. But what was missing? Heat, fire, light. And then on top of it, they say, this is your God that brought you out of Mitzrayim. So what happened here? The people were not present. They were not accountable. They were not grateful. They were worried about the future, worried about whether or not their 401k would really cover their kids' tuition. Impatient, frustrated, annoyed. So what did they do? They had the high priest take their gold and fashion a calf. And then they said, you brought us out from Mitzrayim. You go for the shiniest thing that looks like it's going to give you what you want. You want fulfillment? You make more money. You don't want to be alone? You marry someone. And voila, you're out of Mitzrayim. But unfortunately, money doesn't bring you fulfillment. Purpose does. But the only way to know your purpose is to connect to the Creator. Be still with yourself enough to know what desires He has placed in you, what passions and gifts He has blessed you with. That is your purpose. And another human doesn't erase loneliness, connection does. But in order to connect, you have to know yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, you don't actually know what you like or dislike. And that's why you end up being around people that drive you nuts, because you don't even know what you like. Stillness connects you not only to the Creator, but to yourself. Stop falling for a golden calf just because he has a black card and a six pack. I must say, I find it absolutely hilarious when the creator refers to us as stiff necked. He literally came up with everything in the entirety of all, and he could only think of stiff necked. Oh well. Anyhow, we're obviously moving on to when it's revealed just how stiff necked we are, and Moshe pleads for Bnei Israel. So, first we have the Creator say to Moshe, go down the mountain to the people that you brought out of Mitzrayim. And Moshe retorts, why are you going to get mad at the people that you brought out of Mitzrayim with your power and your strength? Why do I bring this up? Because the Creator pointed the finger at Moshe as though he was blaming Moshe. Every single time the Creator referred to himself in regards to Bnei Israel, he was saying that he brought them out of Egypt. This is the first time he says, no, you brought them out of Egypt to Moshe. Why is this pivotal? Because just like a parent, the Creator gets absolutely annoyed and frustrated with all of our ludicrous, abhorrent behavior. And it's also pivotal because Moshe holds the Creator accountable. And he's like, no, 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 no. You are the one who brought these wildlings out of Mitzrayim. You did it with your power and your strength. These are the two halves working in tandem with each other. And also, the Creator wants you to get in his face and be like, nah, you and me are in this together. So you can be upset all you want, but you put me here. So we're going to figure this ish out together. And you're not going to kill everyone just because you don't like what they did. Many people would say, oh, well, you can't speak disrespectfully to Hashem. And to that, I would say, since when is it disrespectful to hold someone accountable? Maybe your relationship with responsibility is the problem, not what's being said. Anyways, we move forward just a bit, and Moshe continues, and he's like, remember for the sake of Avraham, Isaac, and Israel. Now, anytime we've heard the triad before, it's Avraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. So why the sudden switch up? First of all, Moshe is being like Israel in this moment. How did Yaakov become Israel? By wrestling with the divine. And what is Moshe doing? He's wrestling with literally the Creator. Second is that in order to reach Israel, one must first be like Avraham, leave all that you're used to, family habits, trauma, emotional stuff, and then you must be like Isaac, balancing giving and discipline. Then you become like Yaakov, who both left his home and embodied giving with Leah and discipline to receive Rachel. Yaakov embodied Israel. So when Moshe says Avraham, Isaac, and Israel, he's not only reminding the Creator of the covenant he made, but also of hope. The people Bnei Israel were still barely figuring out how to be Avraham, leaving what they knew. They didn't have the chance to embody Isaac and then Yaakov yet. But there is hope because Avraham must be mastered before Isaac can be reached, and Isaac before Yaakov, and Yaakov before Israel. And again, Joshua shows up out of the blue and is always related to Moshe when he's going to be communing with the Creator in the mountain. Remember, Joshua means the Creator is my salvation. So then Moshe sees the calf, gets a little upset, burns it, sprinkles the powder in water, and makes Bnei Israel drink it. And then what happens? Moshe basically got upset instead of the Creator. And he was like, Aaron, what the heck, dude? And Aaron failed the test. He was like, well, you know that the people are evil. Why is it a test? What happened when the Creator was like, what the heck, dude, to Moshe? Moshe held the Creator accountable. Why? Because he knows that all things come from the Creator. What did Aaron do? He blamed the people. What does it tell us? First of all, no matter what title someone holds, or how holy or how spiritual you think they are or they claim to be, their poo still stinks. Everyone makes mistakes. How often do you do this? Something goes left, and instead of looking up at the creator and being like, "What the heck, dude?" because you know that each moment you're present is with him, instead you look at the person in front of you and then you blame them. If they happen to hold more awareness than you, hopefully they will direct the accountability to its rightful owner, the creator. So we fast forward a bit, and 3,000 dead people later, Moshe goes back to the creator and he's like, "Listen, I know they were wrong, but let me take responsibility for it. Yehuda, every time you humble yourself to take accountability, you're opening yourself up for more light." And the creator was like, "I will determine who has sinned. Just go do what I've asked you to do. I will hold the people accountable, and whoever needs to be held accountable will be held accountable." So Moshe goes back to the people. They lose their jewelry, and Moshe builds a tent outside of the camp, again representing Lech Lecha. Leave from where you come so that you may elevate. And what about Bnei Israel? They're all terrified. Now, it's actually quite sad, and it goes back to the half shekel. They're terrified of the consequences they received. But remember, everything in this world has a consequence. The word itself has a negative connotation, so we associate it with negativity. But you can also have positive consequences. We are not placed here, we were never placed here to judge whether a consequence is positive or negative or good or bad. We are meant to understand consequences as a part of divine balance. Because Bnei Yisrael perceived their consequences as negative, they considered themselves as being punished. And what happens when a child is punished? They will either become afraid and retreat, as did Bnei Israel, or they will stand tall, take accountability for their role in the balance, as does Moshe every single time. When you constantly see something as punishment because you didn't get the answer that you wanted, or you didn't get the result you want, or you didn't get the result that you want, you naturally retreat. But you're choosing to move further away from the creator. He stays in the same place the entire time. You choose to see yourself as bad. Why? Because you're behaving from a mentality of what you want, when you want it, how you want it, why you want it. And that's not co creation. Co creation says to the creator, "Hey man, I know that you placed me here with gifts. Some of them maybe I like, some of them maybe I don't, and maybe some of them I'll grow to like. But I'm grateful for what you've given me, and I'm here with you to figure out how I'm going to use these gifts in my unique way to bring more of your light into this world." So then Moshe does this pretty incredible thing. He goes on this campaign with the creator to have the creator prove to him that he has favor. Why is it incredible? Because even Moshe, even after all of the miracles that he performed, even after he brought them from Mitzrayim, even after literally everything that he did, he still wants to know that he's special to the creator. We all want to be special in someone's eyes. The creator gave Moshe an indefinite amount of patience. How many times do your kids come to you, or your husband, or your wife, or your friend, and they ask you if they're still special to you? And you probably do it too. What does it sound like? Am I annoying you? Did I do something wrong? Am I going to see you soon? I feel like we haven't talked in a while. It feels like things are different. I don't want to bother you. Are we good? I'm thinking about you. Children need reassurance from their parents until they develop their own relationship with the Creator. But we've heard these statements and questions from adults. I've said some of these things at points in my life, and it's equally sad to say these things to someone as it is to hear them from someone. Because when we fish for validation, we are inadvertently putting someone in the role of the creator. And that is why, for some people, it can be a turnoff because it's a responsibility that only the creator can hold. And other people will take advantage of it because of the power that you're giving them. And it's the same when someone puts you in that place. But maybe that's a part of the journey for all of us. When Moshe was fishing for validation from the Creator, he gently, patiently reassured Moshe each time. I'm a fire sign, so patience does not come naturally to me in any capacity. But patience is one of the most profound things that we are offered by our Creator in literally every single moment, because He stays there with His half shekel each and every moment of our lives, hoping that we're going to give our half. And even when we don't, He gently, patiently reassures us that He's still there. And for anyone who watched the show The Good Place, that's exactly what we owe each other: gentleness and patience. Because we're all somewhere along the poor, wealthy spectrum, but we can all cultivate a little gentleness and patience to give to someone every day. So we fast forward, and Moshe makes the new tablets, and he was with the Creator for 40 days and 40 nights. And then he comes back down from Sinai, and his face is radiant. And so he wears a mask with the people and not with the Creator. And here we have the OG version of, if you can't handle the heat, then get out of the kitchen. Moshe lived in such a pure, aligned way that light emanated from him. And Bnei Israel couldn't handle it. Sounds so familiar. People nowadays, generally speaking, cannot handle the truth. They prefer that someone wear a mask, show them what they want, say to them what they want, treat them how they want, all because you prefer not to be in the light. As I said before, Ki Tisa is one of the best because, in spite of it being relatively intricate, the point of the whole parsha is just to show up for the creator, for yourself, really. However that looks. If you're rolling your eyes at him, if you're yelling at him, if you happen to share some colorful words with him, if you're crying at him, if you're joyful with him, you show up. You take accountability for your role in the relationship with him. Literally, all he wants is a relationship with you. Obviously, it needs to be a healthy relationship, which is why we've discussed some tools. But in order to use the tools, you need to show up. The creator already knows just exactly how preposterous our behavior can be. He literally created it. He may close his eyes, shake his head, and will probably deserve it. But he's stuck with us, and he knows that, and he revels in that. So this week, lesson one, mind your business. Lesson two, stay present, be grounded, take a deep breath. Lesson three, hold yourself accountable for finding gratitude in each moment. Four, connect to the creator and to yourself. Five, we owe each other gentleness and patience. And lastly, if you choose to be light, you cannot be burned. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.